I 1,000% believe South London produces the best footballers. All my friends know this. It's not East London, it's not West London, it's not North London, it's South London.
If you could describe South London footballers with 3 words, what would it be?
Skillful.
Flair.
Overlooked.
Young English players are on the rise at the top of the game. Many are going from academy prospects to first-team regulars in a matter of months. One region that is thriving now is South London, also known as the Concrete Catalonia.
I just wanna get paid, I wanna be famous.
And that's because a lot of them started on pitches that weren't as nice as this one. There's a saying among the young footballers of South London: we rise by lifting others. And even in the professional game, you can still see the sense of community and solidarity among the players in this area. I'll be giving you some insight on how Cajun street football and the South London culture has helped mould some of the most exciting players to be seen in England, and what could be done to help the next generation of football stars. And we begin our journey by speaking to 2 of South London's proudest products.
I don't know if it's just South London, but it feels like the culture there, it's really intense when it comes to football. Some schools had more focus on rugby or athletics or so on, but for me, going to Forest Hill Boys, like every break time, every lunchtime, it was football, football, football. That was just the culture, and yeah, I think because of it, it built us in different ways, just to be competitive, to be driven, and yeah, just enjoy ourselves.
I think growing up in South London is like, for me, it was like a massive feeling. Like, obviously, I've been there all my life. It's a place where, as I say, it's unique, it's different.
Yeah.
It's not like any other place. I think everybody in the community is just so together. Everybody just likes to be in around each other, and it's a nice community. I think everybody just wants the best for each other. It doesn't matter who's coming through or who's doing what. I think everybody wants the best for each other. And it's a nice feeling to know that a lot of people are coming out of South London and doing well for themselves and making a name for themselves, so it's good.
But obviously for you, your dream came kind of early. You joined Charlton quite young, and then you played for the under-18s when you was 13. A lot of South London players say that cage football kind of moulded them in that sense. How would you say that experience was for you?
You kind of put your reputation on the line when you go to Power League, and there's a standard to obtain because it's competitive, and then like people call you out, and so stepping from that environment where I found it just as competitive as playing for Charlton, it was like I'm kind of used to this, and I don't know what it is. It's like when you're in a concise pitch, it just feels like there's more ego in a small space.
Yeah, it gets
like,
physical.
Yeah, it's just
a lot
more
of pride on the line.
Yeah, and it's a lot more personal. There's more reaction. Like if you're playing like a round robin sort of thing, people are on the side of the pitch watching. You have the audience, and it's intense. It definitely had an impact, I think, on us as a collective in South London.
Your Chelsea goal scorer, number 20, Hudson Odoi.
What do you think it is that actually like sets South Londoners apart? Because obviously, like there are ballers from North and West and East, but with South London, I can't lie. Obviously, I'm from South London as well, so I feel like we've got a little bit of an edge. But like, what do you think it is?
Nah, South London is definitely a place where you get told if you're not a baller,
if
you're not a baller, or you're not this. They tell you straight. They'll be like, all right, nah, you're not cutting it from me. I can't lie. Like, you're not what we think you are, and it's like you have that. Sometimes when you hear stuff like that, it's like a motivation that I want to come back and prove you lot wrong.
To continue this journey, we're going to check out a few free football organisations in the heart of South London: Millwall PL Kicks and Create. They are 2 football organisations that focus on delivering professional football sessions for kids in some of the most deprived areas in the country. At Millwall PL Kicks, they've had many success stories, including Eddie Nketiah, Jordan Ibe and Josh Koroma. Ahmed, the former director of Create, also coached Jadon Sancho and Reece Nelson before they reached the heights that they have today. So what I really want to know is what motivated these organisations?
I think football's so good at bringing people together, and I think that's what it did for me as a young 11-year-old or so. A lot of the young people that have attended our Kicks programme have gone on to play pro football. That there is a sign that if they can do it, it's something you can achieve as well.
So in terms of your career, you worked with players such as Reece Nelson and Jadon Sancho. What would you say are the fundamental lessons you taught them while coaching that enabled them to push on through the ranks?
they were a credit to themselves when they first come to the London Youth Games, which is what I was managing alongside a couple other friends as well, who I'm in touch with still. We provided a trial day, and it happened that we contacted the local schools in the area, primary schools in the area. And it just happened that we was fortunate that we had boys that were playing for Arsenal's Academy or Reading's Academy or Watford's Academy, and we was lucky to have those boys be part of the trial process. They were level grounded and they were hard working, and I think that helped them in terms of achieving what their dreams are in terms of playing professional football. There's some young men, some children that come from difficult environments, you know, whether it's their personal circumstances, and there's some that, you know, that's perfectly okay in terms of where they come from. But I think in terms of when they look up to their role models, when they look up to the players that have come out from South London, I think this is a big thing for them. They're inspired by it.
So where do you think you would be without Create if Create was never a thing?
Probably be much less fit, maybe messing about with my friends outside, I don't know. But Create's helped me a lot. It's given me a lot of discipline as well.
There are various things we can educate young people on outside of school, other than just, oh, don't pick up a knife, don't pick up drugs. And that's what I like to remind our young people, that they are more than what they're being told.
When we first started it, it was about giving opportunities and creating that environment for young children, young adults, again, to get top coaching, elite coaching, because I feel most times that there be children or parents, you know, that want to bring their young ones to football, but there's a lot of organisations out there but charging top dollar.
4 in 10 Londoners have an income below the minimum income standard, significantly more than 29% in the UK as a whole. And 51% of children in London live in households with income below the MIS, compared to 43% in the UK. In London, it has become increasingly difficult for young Londoners to be able to fund their football dreams. Booking pitches in the city now costs an average of £71, and that is just for a 40-minute session. There have also been hundreds of pitches closed across the country, with London losing 54. The poverty level in the capital has been consistently higher than any other region in the UK, currently sitting at 32%, 6% more than the national figure. So why is it so important for sessions like this to be happening in South London?
I don't think I can really put into words, it's as cliche as it sounds. I'd just say the importance is vital, because it gives young people somewhere to go, something to do that they actually enjoy. It's like a home away from home to a lot of our young people, I'd say. So yeah, the importance can't be denied.
With the Elite Player Performance Plan, a long-term strategy to develop more homegrown players, now is the time for these young raw stars to shine. No club has taken the opportunity more than Manchester City. Ex-City player Jadon Sancho, who grew up in Kennington, recently teamed up with Nike and Lambeth Tigers to build a new facility in South London. A borough which was once labelled the most dangerous place to live in is now home of a new state-of-the-art 4G facility open to kids in the community to enjoy their football for free. The club was founded by 2 football coaches who grew up on a nearby estate, David Marriott and Jamal Jarrett. Their organisation is committed to stressing the importance of being active in a generation that is clearly less active than previous. But I wanted to find out from Jamal why it was so important for this collaboration to take place.
If you look at sort of my dreams sort of dying out and me not dwelling on the fact that I could no longer make it, it was more, what else could I do? How could I contribute? How could I be the best in whatever I'm gonna do next? And that's sort of what we sort of put into players, is the sort of hunger, desire, work rate, discipline. So those are like 4 major characteristics that sort of epitomises a Lambeth Tigers, but even a South London player in general. And then if you look at some of the best players in world football, you know, you look at Ronaldo. Did he play in a structured environment straight away? No. Street football. Messi, was it structured for him? No. You know, so I mean, all of them came from that sort of street football, problem solving, thinking for themselves.
In February 2019, a young man was stabbed outside of a training session organised by Lambeth Tigers, which shows how close this violence is. But how does Jamal keep his players focused on just football?
We get players quite young, so because they already feel a sense of belonging and they feel a part of something, they tend to not really get caught up into that sort of gang culture, sort of lifestyle. And I think this is what people need to understand. If there's no provisions and there's nothing for the young kids to do, then the only outlet for them is what they're seeing around them in their estates, in their community, and that's what they're gonna follow. And I just always fought for myself, just due to the fact that I knew what I wanted in life. it made the turnaround from gang member of one of the biggest gangs in South London to working in a Premiership club and owning one of the biggest amateur football clubs within London or England or whatever.
I definitely think they need to do more because we're behind the pitch now. I used to play on this pitch when I was younger. The pitch is closed. I don't know where the kids are going to go. The kids don't know where they're going to go themselves. So the only thing they probably have is to sort of sit outside an apartment, sit outside a block of flats, and then you never know what happens from there.
I mean, how many 3G pitches are open for kids in the community just to go on and play? This is probably one of the only ones in this area where, you know, the community can just go on and play without being charged.
There's like a sense of community in terms of the scouts and the footballers that grew up in South London. You can see it with Sancho, Hudson Odoi. All of them are all friends, all familiar, and it's even like transferred into the England squad because now there's a bit more of a family because of that core. So how important would you say that is coming from South London to the main stage?
I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that because if you look at the cohesion with the England squad now, it seems like so much more together than it's ever been. And part of that is because, like you said, there's a lot of players that's come from the community that are playing at different clubs, and then they've known each other from they was young. Whether they played in the district together, whether they lived in the same area, and where they're at different clubs, and they've obviously made friends at those clubs as well, they're able to bring that all together, and it's brilliant.
There is a lot of talent in the UK, but it is clear that South London produced special players with the likes of Sancho, Joe Gomez, Wilfred Zaha, and many more making their own unique stamp on world football. The levels have improved so much. If you go to a Sunday League game in London, you'll see some extraordinary talent that will have you question why some of these players haven't gone pro. A big example of the quality in Sunday League is SE Dons, a YouTube team that has accumulated almost 200k subscribers and millions of views due to the quality on the pitch, but also the family-orientated environment that they have created. Big G is the captain of SE Dons, but aside from that, he takes his expertise into primary schools and tries to influence and motivate the next generation.
I think a lot of the time we don't get to confront what our fears are, or we don't take responsibility for the decisions we make as individuals. So my problem was that I lost my mum and I didn't grieve. So the circle I was in was it was an aggressive circle. Everyone wanted to make money, everyone wanted to be the person that everyone in the area respected. And when things went wrong, I was happy. I didn't really care. Like, I was willing to take the risks, and I didn't care about the effects it would have on my family at the time, which was selfish. So when I went to jail as a youth offender, you're trapped in a room, and the only thing you have are your thoughts. There's no hiding place. There's no like somebody closing your door and you not being able to open it when you want wakes you up, because all you have is time on your mind. And there's things like being locked up for 22 hours, 23 hours. And at that point, I realized that for me, I was better than that lifestyle. I could change my life. Although I thought I'd messed it up forever, I took responsibility and I said, you know what, I want to change my life for the better. So growing up in South, your friendships are big for you. Your friends are your family, regardless of bloodline. So if the people you're around want you to do bad and they're happy for you to do bad and they don't really care, they're not really your friends. So I was in a circle where not everyone cared about each other, and it could have gone so left. Like I might not be here today. And lucky for me, God protected me in those situations, but I learnt the hard way. And that's what I try and prevent the kids from having to do. Don't learn the hard way, learn before it happens.
You know, we have children coming from very challenging backgrounds, lots of economical and social deprivation. So you have children that have very, very difficult home circumstances, and I think they need somebody that they can kind of aspire to and have some positive role models, because unfortunately, often at home, that's something that is absent. So they've seen that Big G is someone who maybe, you know, looks in appearances like them, in background is like them, maybe even in terms of speaking is like them, but he's gone on to achieve so much and has become such an inspirational figure that they see within Big G a role model that they can kind of aspire to.
A lot of the time when we was growing up, everyone's looking at what the other person's got and they want to take that. You forget that you're actually what you should be focusing on. And there's a lot of kids that are making decisions that are sometimes forced upon them and they don't want to take responsibility. And sometimes it's the environment that you can't shape that. And until the kids are given an opportunity to go and progress, they'll never dream. They'll never dream big enough. And that's why I say this badge. When you see this badge, you're looking at boys who have come from going through making mistakes, but then trying to do positive things. Making mistakes, but then saying, do you know what? Keep going. We've had more no's than we've had yeses. So work. Do you know what I mean? Work hard, work consistently, but do good work as well. And then hopefully we elevate each other.
There are currently over 20 young English players that come from 6 South London boroughs, and more than 10% of English players in the Premier League this season originate from South London. Even England manager Gareth Southgate stated, there's always been a high production rate in South London, but with the EPPP and better coaching, the overall level has kicked on. But what can be done to ensure that the talent train continues?
It's a bit surreal when you think about it. For us, like, we're just young boys who grew up playing football, and like, to have so many of us that come from a similar walk of life, in the sense that we grew up in the same era doing the same sort of things. It is surreal, because I think for all of us that we don't take for granted the percentages of the chances that it happens, and the chance to play at that level. Obviously you dream of as a kid, but the pathway seems so difficult, and it's special. Like, I know, like Ruben, we were born in the same hospital sort of thing.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he was born in Lewisham Hospital, so was I.
Football sometimes, for me, sometimes in cage football for me was like, if I was stressed in school, I would take it out, or if I was stressed doing something, I'll take it out in the cage and just be free and just clear my head through that. And for other kids, it could be the same way. So like, if you're stressed you had a bad day at school, you had a bad day with someone, like parents or whatever it is, you can go to the pitch and open. It's just open. You can do what you want, play with your other people there, express, be free, and you want that sort of feeling that I don't have to go there and pay £100 or £50 just to play like for a couple of hours. I want to just go to a pitch when I know it's open. I can just walk in and play my football and be happy and be free. So I think there should be more open pitches for everyone just to go and just be themselves and be free.
So this journey has taken me quite a while. I've spoken to grassroots managers and coaches, England internationals and Champions League winners, but this is what I've learned so far. Community is key in this part of the world. The phrase "we rise by lifting others" isn't just a saying, it is genuinely embedded in what they do. More needs to be done to protect the culture that creates players like Joe Gomez, Callum Hudson Odoi, Jadon, Sancho and many other players. But it doesn't just start from things like this. It starts from putting more money into grassroots football, putting more money into affordable pitches up and down the country so these young kids see their future within football.
I don't fight waste, mate, unless you're telling me to go home. Skin doodle like Yaya, invincible like Colo. Yaya, Colo. All my brothers, them are loco. Years spent in that dojo, now flexing all of my photos. I'm in your end, stop snoring, B. The realest jigger in your postcode. Big man like Yaya, gone for my team like Colo. Yaya, Colo. Colo, Yaya. Sipping up with my Desi G's and stepping out with my Carla. Chop it with the right. Whip it with the left. All I know is Pro Ball. All my brothers got